back at the Tribeca Film Festival on the red carpet with Colin Farrell for the premiere of Ondine. Look at them. They're amazing. They're having such a great time. And that girl has more rhythm than you do, I think. So many people that want to take these paparazzi shots. And it's all about romance and what it takes to get it and to keep it. Yeah, I know. That's right. We really had fun with that one. That's one you probably hadn't heard of before, but you may know of, the Latin Mass. I'm going to do a little rap on currents one of these days, but I won't do it today because I don't think I cleared it with the bosses over here. Which is from what?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Very good. Ding, 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 ding. They let us not only on the red carpet, but in the spotlight. And guess who's behind me? Miss Jessica Alba. Rap? Oh, I just got, Cedric just told me to rap. There's rap.
We'll play on words.
Rap. Hey, I'm Francesca Maxime with a new little segment called Behind the Lens for Film Slate magazine. We are here over at the SVA Theater with all these throngs of photographers. You're saying, what are these people out here for? Why are people bumping into us and aggravating us a little bit? Well, it's because they're waiting for Jessica Alba and the premiere of her movie, The Killer Inside Me. Now, of course, Kate Hudson stars in it as well as Casey Affleck from Boston, just as I am. Now he's really coming up from when we first hooked up about 10 years ago. But all these people are creating this madness, and this is really public space right now. It's going to be partitioned off a little bit, and that's usually where the fans stand so that they can actually get a little glimpse of the stars. But we photographers are sort of being pushed out here as well because there's so much density and so many people that want to take these paparazzi shots of Jessica Alba. Hottie patati that she is, mind you. I can see why they want to do it. But they are crammed in under the tent and on the red carpet. So right now we're on the good old New York City sidewalk, and we'll continue to bring you these updates and celebrity sightings as we go. But for now, it's a little bit of the behind-the-scenes look at things as they go on over here. All the stars have showed up here at the premiere of The Killer Inside Me for the Tribeca Film Festival, but most of the people that are actually here are doing what we did, sort of, or what I did anyway. They're taking little at-home paparazzi shots of everybody. You can see I got a pretty decent one of Jessica Alba right there. She is one of the stars of the film. And the whole thing is, now that we're digital, it seems like everybody can not only be a celebrity and have their 15 minutes of fame, but they can also be a professional shutterbug. Boy, I have some friends in high places with security over here. They're being super nice. They let us not only on the red carpet, but in the spotlight. And guess who's behind me? Miss Jessica Alba. So now we're actually sharing the same red carpet. I'm feeling really special right now. So I guess we're not necessarily booted to the New York City concrete sidewalk after all. Francesca Maxime here at the premiere of Letters to Juliet at the Tribeca Film Festival. Amanda Seyfried is in the movie. We're going to be talking to her in just a minute. It's all about romance and what it takes to get it and to keep it and when it can be found again. Let's talk to the stars. What brought you to producing then?
My partner Caroline dictates, and we thought that'd be a great jumping off point for a movie.
And when you're actually looking at the actors that you're, working with for this particular film, what most excites you? Vanessa, Amanda, Christopher.
Oh, they all excite me. Gael, what can you say?
As a young woman with this particular movie, and it's about romance and it's about love, as a young woman, what kind of advice do you have for young women and older women perhaps about love and finding it or keeping it?
About love?
Yeah, romance.
Well, I think all the other love kind of just falls into place, and that's important.
Do you think that as a guy you have a different perspective on romance than as women, or not so much?
I think my character in the movie, you can find true love, and even if you miss it first, maybe there's a second chance at it.
Guy or girl, it seems like everybody has their challenges looking for love, but it does seem that if you head to Italy, you just might be able to find it. I'm Francesca Maxime for Film Slate magazine.
Andy Warhol is as misunderstood as he is famous.
Warhol was born in Pittsburgh in 1928 to Eastern European immigrants. Ill as a child, he became close to his mother and spent much of his time recuperating in bed, drawing. From these humble beginnings came one of the most renowned artists of the past century. Primarily remembered for his contribution to the 1960s movement known as pop art, he had a reputation for living on the wild side.
He's on television, he's in the nightclubs, he's doing Interview magazine, he's making movies, he's hobnobbing with the rich, the famous, the stars of his age. He also had a completely different side of his life that was unknown to almost everyone except a very few close confidants. He didn't like to be touched. He was afraid around large numbers of people, and he practiced the Catholic faith.
More precisely, the Byzantine Catholic faith, an integral part of his upbringing.
He would, walk down the street and pop into the St. Vincent Ferrard Church in the high 60s or whatever it was, I can't remember. But I would wait outside. He would go in, he'd come back out, and we'd continue walking.
He also practiced his faith outside the church, often giving up Thanksgivings to volunteer in soup kitchens.
When he first moved to New York and he was living with his mother, they had an altar in their home.
But this was not revealed until John Richardson read his eulogy at the memorial service. And he said the key to Andy Warhol's psyche is his religious side.
This emphasis is evidenced in his obsession with iconography, influenced in part by the repetition of religious icons featured so prominently in the Byzantine church of his childhood.
This show begins at a very important moment in his life. He turns 50. It was also exactly 10 years after the assassination attempt. And Warhol started to think about what was going to be his future, what was going to be his legacy. He went back into the studio and he went back to painting.
We sort of begin to see Warhol sort of thinking about his career, but there's also very much a sort of reflection on death.
The Last Supper project was very important to him. I mean, it was a commission project, but through the art dealer Alexander Yolas. But he wouldn't have taken on the commission if he didn't think it was really important.
Warhol produced more than 100 works in that series, and in fact was still working on that series when he died.
Even to find the right Last Supper image was a fascinating thing, because he was a great editor and he was looking for the right, reproductions.
The right reproduction repeated 112 times. Also critical, his juxtaposition of images, almost casually casting a price tag alongside an image of Jesus Christ.
Pop irony always makes you skeptical of the degree of sincerity, but his daily votives, he kept an icon over his bed and a cross on his bedstand and was known to pray every day.
People will really get more of that personal side of Warhol's work when they see this show. And I think there'll be a lot of discoveries in what people will see.
He was a visionary. He saw the future. And he died, prematurely. I mean, at the young age of 58.
We are our own walking reconciliation of our own inherent contradictions. Andy Warhol embraced his contradictions in his public and private life, and you see it come out in the artwork.
Sherry Schachter, Director of Bereavement Services at Calvary Hospital, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Here on Currents. Now, we know that Calvary does advertise in the tablet, which is, this is last Sunday's version. And one of the things in here as well is our own Dr. Stephen Garner. He did a little column here about sort of depression over the holidays and people that sort of feel overwhelmed and have a lot of trouble sometimes dealing with it. And that's what we're here to talk a little bit about, is how do you deal with the holidays? I'm going to be driving home to Boston. I don't love everybody in my family the way that I probably should, because sometimes they drive me nuts. But, I have found ways over the years to sort of deal with that. How do you think people, what's your advice to deal with some troubled relatives, if you will?
Well, I think the first thing you have to realize is holidays.
So how would they take control? Are there things they can do now before Thanksgiving or before Christmas or New Year's or whatever it is, as well as things that they can do during the actual day when they're with the people?
Absolutely. I like to think this is what I'm not going to do.
So you have to make your own decision. That's your control part. So
make your own decision, but also consult with family members.
Okay.
I want to communicate that to the rest of the family.
Okay, so communicate. Then that's your action item. So that takes you out and then says, this is what we're going to do. I've considered all of the above, myself and you included, and this is the plan.
And also have not only plan A, but...
What about people that have a hard time sort of saying no, and they feel like they're obliged, and perhaps the thing is supposed to go from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. Can they just say, well, I'll be there from 2 to 4, and that's it?
Well, one of the
it's okay if you're going to...
Absolutely.
So we have the control, and we have the communication and the action plans, and it sounds as though for people who are recently bereaved, it's particularly perhaps a challenging time, but there are some things that they can do to plan ahead and also that day to kind of take control of their environment. Well, that sounds great. I will talk a little bit more about this on our blog and let people know a few of the tips that you shared with us today. And for now, thanks so much for sharing with us all this, Sherry.
You're quite welcome.